everyone, and welcome to the University Sew Paige Blouse tutorial part 4. Let's get started. Now we will begin to work on our sleeves here, but before we get started, we need to make sure we have some important markings. When you work with sleeves, you should always have these 3 notches. You will have a single notch indicating the front, and you will have a corresponding single notch on your front bodice. You will have a notch at the top. This indicates the top of your sleeve, and you will match the shoulder seam of your bodice to this notch. For the back of the sleeve, you will have 2 notches, and on the back of your bodice, you will have 2 notches as well. So now we will sew the sleeve seam with right sides together, folding it, matching the sides. Okay? Now it is very important that the sleeves go in opposite directions so that you know you have a right sleeve and a left sleeve. You don't want 2 right sleeves or 2 left sleeves. So sometimes that happens when the sleeves are going in the same direction. So just be sure that this sleeve right here has a front notch and that this other sleeve also has a front notch with the sleeves facing opposite directions. So now just make sure that the sides match and pin the 2 layers together like so. So when you're finished pinning it, you are ready to sew it with the 1/2 inch seam allowance. And do the same thing with this sleeve as well. Your sewn sleeve seam will look like this, and the next step is to turn it right side out, like so. And we will go to the iron and work on our sleeve hem. So here we have the hem of our sleeve that we began to work on. We're going to be doing a double fold hem, but the first step is to get your hot pressing ruler, slip it inside your sleeve like so. Then after that, you'll take your hem, fold it up a 1/2 inch. Get your iron and press it. You can use a little bit of steam if you need to. We will be doing this the whole circumference of the hem. Okay, move your ruler down and repeat the same process. We're doing this because it's gonna make it much easier when we fold it a second time for our double fold hem. Okay, I'm gonna fast forward a little bit here. Okay, so when you're finished, it should look something like this. So now you have the first fold of your hem pressed. Now we will work on the second fold of our double fold hem. The first step is to take your sleeve and turn it inside out. So now take where this edge is here and fold it up. It will be a 1/2 inch. So fold it up and pin it. Super easy. So you will do the exact same thing all around the hem. So now I'm gonna fast forward it a little bit here. Okay, so this is what we have now. So you're going to go to your machine and you will top stitch going along the inside of this fold line. So now we are at our sewing machine where we will top stitch the hem of our sleeve. So the first step is just to line up the left side of your presser foot with the edge of the fold there. You'll back stitch and then just top stitch the hem all the way around. Okay, so now we're back where we started. So back stitch and now you'll have your first sleeve hemmed. After you are finished top stitching your sleeve hem, it will look like this. Here's another view. Now do the other sleeve the same way. So now we will sew our sleeve onto our bodice here. We're going to be doing a set-in sleeve. So here's our sleeve with the hem finished. And here are the important notches once again. You have one for the front, two for the back, and then one for the top of your sleeve, which you will match with the shoulder seam of your bodice. So the first thing that we will do is match the bodice side seam with the seam of your sleeve. And I have the camera super close, so in this video tutorial I will be readjusting quite a bit. I apologize, just bear with me. I wanted you guys to see every detail. Okay, so once you have those two seams matched, like so, pin them together. Okay, so far it will look like this. So the next thing you're gonna do is turn your bodice inside out over the sleeve. So reach your hand into the bodice. Hold on to your sleeve and turn the bodice inside out over the sleeve. This will cause you to have right sides together. Okay, so the sleeve is now inside. So now we will match our notches. So you have two notches on the back of your sleeve. You'll match it with the two notches on your back bodice. And you will pin those two in place. Now for the front, you have one notch on your sleeve and one notch on your bodice. and you will pin this into place as well. So when you're done, it'll look like this. Next, you're going to take your single notch at the top of your sleeve and match it with the shoulder seam of the bodice. Push the seam allowance to one side and pin it in place. So now we will begin to work on the ease. The ease is very important because it allows for the comfortable movement of your arms when wearing a garment with sleeves. So every set and sleeve has ease. So first, just make sure that the armhole of your bodice is completely flat. The ease should only be in the sleeve itself. Okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to form the ease with your fingers. And the ease, it looks like waves. So just pin in between those little waves there to hold it in place. Okay. So now we will do this side. Make sure the bodice is flat and you have ease in your sleeve. Okay, so when you're done pinning, it'll look something like this. Okay, so no ease from here to here, and no ease from here to here, just flat. But from the front notch to the back notch, all along the top, you'll have ease. So the ease will be in your sleeve cap only. Okay? So now you are ready to sew in your sleeve. Here we are on this sewing machine. I have the sleeve on top and the bodice armhole underneath on the bottom. I'm starting at the side seam when we first pin the sleeve on. Of course, when you start sewing, back stitch. I'm using a 1/2 inch seam allowance here. Something I like to do is always check the bottom layer and make sure that it's flat. So frequently I just kind of lift it up like so and check and make sure that that bottom layer is flat. Another thing I like to do when I get to the part with the ease, I like to slip my hand through the sleeve and kind of just use my fingers to control that ease on that top layer, that ease on that sleeve. I have found that this is the best way to prevent accidental pleats. But just be careful that when you sew, you move your fingers back and out of the way. As you can see, when you sew a set-in sleeve, it takes quite a bit of readjusting. What I like to do is stop, check the bottom, control the ease with my fingers, and then continue to sew. So if you repeat this process when you sew in a set-in sleeve, you'll sew in a perfect one every time. So we are getting to the shoulder seam and we're passing it up. So what you're gonna do is pull out that second half and lay it flat. Sometimes the second half is easier to sew than that first half. So now you're almost finished here. So just sew straight and end where you began from and back stitch, and you will have this first set-in sleeve sewn in. Once you're finished sewing, from the inside it will look like this. From the outside it will look like this. And be sure that your sleeve seam and your side seam are matching. Okay, so here we have our set-in sleeve sewn in. This is what it will look like. On the front, it looks nice and smooth. And then also on the back, nice and smooth, no accidental pleats. Then for the seams at the underarm, they match perfectly. Okay, so now we'll go ahead on and look at the other sleeve that we're going to be working on here. Again, very important, just make sure that that front notch is corresponding with the front notch of your bodice. That's how you know you have the right sleeve. Okay. So now we will do what we did the last time. We will match the side seam of the bodice with the sleeve seam there, just like so. So just match those two, line them up perfectly, and pin them into place, like so. So far it will look like this. And then you're going to do the same thing that you did the last time. You'll turn the bodice inside out over the sleeve, match the notches, pin into place, and then sew it. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to check out part 5.